Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you're here. And I want to thank all the channel members, thank everyone who comes by and watches a video, anyone who's so inclined to subscribe. I appreciate you. Today, I wanted to take a little journey through not my slip joint collection, but my TwoSun slip joint collection, which was first brought to my attention by a brother in the community, Pocket Metal. This is a Lancelot leather clip slip with one of his Lynch Northwest collaboration clips. But this is a knife that I was told about when I first got into slip joints, or traditionals we'll call them, because a lot of these are modern traditionals. A couple of them are double detent, so we'll just call them traditionals. But I was looking for well-made, quality specimens, right? There are not a lot of choices when you first get in to slip joints. There are, but I knew people and just wanted to get a little bit of feedback. So, as you guys know, I'm a big sucker for White Mountain knives. I used to always shop there and use other creators' codes. I use my code now, but I still love White Mountain knives because they get in a lot of TwoSuns, which I'm a fan of, and a lot of other knives that you don't see just on the everyday. Then they've got free shipping and they've got no tax. So for me, it's always been the first place I go to look. And what I love, there are things I don't like about the site when I'm looking at new items. They don't necessarily filter stuff that's back in stock. So what I've learned is, for example, when I'm looking for TwoSun slip joints, I go to the site, I put in TwoSun slip joint, I hit enter, and then up at the top, I click in stock. So I'm only looking at in stock models. And that's how I've been able to find some of these knives that I've been looking for that had been out of stock forever. You could also, if you see any of these knives that I mentioned, and I'll put them in the description, but if you go to a White Mountain site, a couple of them are in stock, most of them are out, but you can put an email address in there and they'll notify you when they come back in stock. But this is the first TwoSun that I brought into my collection. And this, if I'm not mistaken, is the TS197. This knife is, to me, who again, I'm uninitiated, I'm new to traditionals, I don't really know shapes, I don't know histories, but this one kind of reminded me of kind of a Skinner blade, almost in that sidebuster pattern, but I really liked the way it looked. They call this ivory, which I'm sure it's some kind of acrylic or bone. It's got this neat hieroglyphic on it, which I picture it being a big lizard chasing a bug or an alligator chasing a bird or something. But it's the same on both sides. It is screwed together instead of being pinned together. It has titanium liners, steel spring, and then it has an M390 hollow ground blade. You get a little paper. I don't know if all these are going to be sharp because they have been used, but one of the things about the TwoSuns is they've come out of the box sharper than really any slip joints that I brought into the collection from a lot of different makers, with the exception of Jack Wolf. But what I loved about this knife when I first found it in stock is, for the materials, M390, ivory or bone, titanium, titanium liners, it was $85.19. And that is before I put in my 10%. Now I would put in Javon 10 and save another 10% off that 85.19. And I've got a modern folder, modern traditional, that has a great half stop, great action, great walk and talk. It's very slicey, has a fantastic finger choil, and it's just done really well. Great materials, great fit and finish, and it's a knife I really enjoyed, and I didn't have to spend a lot of money for it. So that's the TS197. As we moved on through my infatuation with TwoSun, I found what I considered an anomaly. This came back in stock It is a TwoSun TS359. It is in Damascus. It is a very nice Damascus, but I don't know what type of blade steel it is. It looks like it has a brass bolster, brass pins, a lanyard tube. It looks like it has steel liners and a steel spring. And then it's got this acrylic shell type material. But guys, this knife is pinned together like a traditional knife would be. It doesn't have the modern slip joints like the other TwoSuns. So to me, it's night and day from the TwoSun that we just looked at. Has no walking blade, has no distinctive half stop. So it's literally just a open, close, but you've got a nice 90-degree pause there. A knife that I wouldn't have normally been interested in, but I was just starting out with slip joints, didn't know what I liked, didn't know what I was after. Guys, this knife listed before I put in my 10% discount for $41. $41 in Damascus, and this nice shell, brass, no displacement, perfect centering, perfect fit and finish. Again, is it one of my favorite slip joints? No, but is it worth every bit the $41 that I invested in it? Absolutely. So that is another TwoSun that really sparked my interest because now I've seen two from totally different eras, right? So that was the TS359. Then this one came back in stock, and this one is in stock right now. I've been watching this on eBay. It was a knife I was really interested in, more so when I found out it had a paper or a pocket clip. I was less interested in it, but it still works great. This knife is the TwoSun TS123. And what I think is amazing about this knife is it is a titanium and copper construction where you cannot feel any seam between the titanium and the copper. So you've got I don't know if you can see the milling in this bolster, which is all one piece. And the same milling carries over into the copper, which is all inset. It does have this reversible clip. I wanted to take the clip off, although it works well if you want to carry your slip joint with a pocket clip, and it goes in and out of a slip fine with the clip. But titanium, copper, a modern slip joint because it has screws, but it's got a distinctive half stop, a really heavy open. I would give that about a 5 on the about a 5 on the close, about a 6 on the open, and about a 6 on the completing the opening. But it's M390, got a tiny little bit of recurve, a nice Bowie blade, came very, very sharp. And I've seen this knife go for as little as 95 bucks on eBay. I've seen it go for $120, $130 because it is made with very quality materials. Has a very thin blade. It's very slicey for a slip joint or a traditional knife. I think it's just absolutely stunning. And this little guy was $89 at White Mountain Knives. It's $89, maybe at 99 cents at White Mountain Knives right now if it's not sold out. And if you add the Javon 10 code, you'll get an additional 10% off, and then no shipping and no taxes. And that is the TwoSun TS123. It is probably one of the heavier slip joints in my collection, in my TwoSun collection, because it is titanium and copper, but it's done exceptionally well. I love this knife. It's a great knife to fidget with, and it really punches over its weight. So moving on, as I continued to get interested in TwoSuns, I found this little knife. This is actually the second one I got, but they are both made by the same designer. They are both top flipper double detents. And the only difference in these two knives, they're both carbon fiber handles, and I'll show you the other one in a second, and the blade steel. This is, I want to say, the TS241. It is a Bowie style blade that is super, super thin. I mean, this knife is Sly C. It is S90V, nice belt satin, has really nice light carbon fiber scales with inset liners, and it being a double detent, it is very fidgety. It's one that I have to, I'll show you another one in a second. I have to choke up a little higher on this one to get that flip, because this front flipper doesn't extend back as far as the Warncliffe that I also have. But this little knife, for a non-locking knife, is very fidgety. It is very useful. It is very thin. I love the blade. I love the grind. S90V, carbon fiber. It was $89, guys, before I put in a 10% discount. So these knives are all going to come in well under 90 bucks. So as we move on, we'll come to a knife that surprised me because of the picture, and I'm showing you this kind of as a warning. If you look at the picture on White Mountain Knives, you would think this was a regular size slip joint. Guys, it's a honking huge slip joint. Again, it is $49 before discount. It is perfectly centered. It is burlap micarta. It is 14C with a very strong half stop, a really strong open, a very, very slicey, usable blade. I mean, I can sit there and just whittle paper. And again, it's not going to close on your hand. It's got a great sharpening choil. It is big, so big that I had to pick up from Amazon for about 14 bucks this hide and drink Knipex pliers carrier, because it makes a perfect slip for it. So that's the slip for my big ass Tucson TS192. This knife is in stock right now at White Mountain Knives. If you're looking for a large, ergonomical, traditional, modern slip joint in 14C, this guy is going to come in at $49 list. Then you put in Javon 10, save a little extra money, and you can pick up probably the biggest slip joint you'll have in your collection. A couple more and then we'll be done, because I think I'm just about bought out everything at White Mountain Knives in terms of slip joints. This is the one you should be on the lookout for when it comes back out. The flipper tab on this one, let me break out the other. This is actually the TS244, which is designed, or the same designer makes the 241. So this is the 241 and this is the 244. So they're both carbon fiber. They both have those kind of obnoxious screws that make them unique. They both have, and I don't have a long enough finger to get that one flipped open, where this one I do. They both have the maker's mark on the blade, which is that little X right there. Little X right there. But the difference that you guys will see, and I'll be honest, I like the look of this one, and I'm a Warncliffe freak. I like the S90V. This one's M390. But if you look at these two top flippers, why this one does not, well, this one does not extend that other 16th or 8th of an inch over like this one does, I will never understand. But it makes all the difference of me being able to one-handed reach up there and open it, where this one, my finger's just not quite long enough. I've really got to put pressure on it to get it to open, where if it was just a little bit longer, it would open with ease. But this little guy right here, of all the TwoSuns that we're looking at, this is one of my favorites, even though it's a double detent. It's the TS244. You've got this fuller in the M390 blade, so you can middle finger flick it. You can do just a real quick reach around to open it. You can do a traditional front flip if you like that kind of thing, but it's got a very slicey M390 blade with that very sharp point that will not only remove splinters, but do any of those detail piercing cuts you need to do. And then it's just fun to operate. It's a great little knife that you can deploy from your pocket or from your slip, open it up, it's ready to go. Carbon M390. Guys, this knife lists for 89 bucks when it's in stock. It is the 244, $89 when it's back in stock. You add 10% on that, or take 10% off of that by using the Javon 10 code, and you can bring it down closer to 80 bucks. So finally, the one that came in most recently that is in stock right now. I don't anticipate it being in stock that long. This is the TS090. And this is a knife that I'd always been interested in, but had never been able to snag. It's got a little bit thicker blade stock, but it is a super cool, modern, traditional that is milled titanium. You've got this big groove here in the fuller, this nail nick, if you want to call it, or this pull. You can see the blade steel right here. You've got a small M390. Very strong half stop, very strong locked open full stop. I love this reverse tanto blade. I love the sharp angle on the actual spine up here. I love that sandblasted or stonewash fuller. This is a Mozart Motari design. It has fantastic walk and talk. You'll notice at 90 degrees, that's probably a 6. I've got no spring displacement. When I've got it open, that's probably a 5. Perfectly tuned up, perfectly locked up. That's probably a 4 or 5 to get it back to half stop. And that's probably a 5 to get it fully closed. It is 100% centered. It has a very nice ergonomical feel in the hand. You've got this little lanyard loop here, if lanyards are something you're into. You've got a steel spring, titanium and M390. Guys, this knife's not that heavy because the titanium has been milled, and it is very, very handy. It's very slicey, and just, I mean, this and the double detents are the ones that I've probably been the most impressed with. This knife, which came in, I think I did an unboxing on Thursday, is when that knife came in. But I've been carrying it in my pocket almost every day since as a slip joint, and I'm enjoying it more and more. It's just a great knife. It's one that I could recommend to anybody. And again, it is the TwoSun TS090. I think it sells also for 89 bucks. Drop in Javon 10 or your favorite creator's code, and you will get 10% off. So guys, those are the TwoSuns that I so far now own in the traditional or modern traditional or double detent style knives. Let's see if I can get that one open. Yeah. I love these two. They're so light. M390, S90V. We've got this big sub $50 one. We've got the little whimsical one I got in the Damascus. We've got the TS123, probably one of the most refined in terms of the way that they've done that copper and titanium. And then lastly, my first one, which is also a mad winner, and that is the TS, I want to say, this is the 197, I think. So guys, those are my slip joint Tucsons, all of which I picked up at White Mountain Knives. You can pick them up on eBay. You can pick them up, some on Amazon. They take a long time to ship. Or you can go fill out the email address if you want to be notified when these come back in and buy them locally. So anyway, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you for watching the content. Thank you for putting up with my weird videos. Thank you for looking out for the guy or gal to your left. Thanks for looking out for the guy or gal to your right. Thank you for looking out for each other. Thank you for going forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.